we got to do intros. We're in the shed again. It's a sunny day. We got to do an intro. Guys, we got to get going here. Welcome back to the shed. You guys are listening. We're in a bit of a hurry here because we have a ton of stuff we want to talk about. So we're going to start right away. Buddy's pretty excited. You can see that. So here we go.
Isn't it great to be here, guys?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
actually,
welcome to the shed, you guys. And look at it's so warm out today, isn't it? Oddly warm.
Excellent. I'm trying out my new bifocals.
wow.
I'm on the bifocals now.
Are they transition lenses?
No, they are not. Because when I've tried transition
You mean
lenses-
progressive?
No, transition that go dark and light.
No, I got dark and light skin. You're on a whole different topic.
No, I was thinking you're halfway to being able to work at Home Depot. If you've got bifocals and their transitions, you're halfway there.
I have a tool belt.
3/4.
I use it for gardening like once every 4 years.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I strap it on.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the reference to transitional lenses at Home Depot?
Do you not follow everything that Rich and I send to you with just unbelievable, painfully attention to
Oh,
detail?
did I miss something, Skin?
I don't know.
You gotta pay attention.
I-
But so anyway, the bifocals. I've been through so many. I've been through so many gyrations on this whole issue. So first of all,
Go on.
I wear two
Do
different.
tell.
And I know this is fascinating, and I'm thinking we can spend half the episode on this. I wear two different magnification levels of readers.
And how much do they magnify, Rich?
1.25 for the computer.
Is that average or above or below?
I used to use 1, but as my eyes degrade, I'm up to 1.25. And that's great for the car as well. And, anything where people are at a distance, even looking at you through 1.25, you guys who are about, 5 or 6 feet away, you're not too blurry, really. 'Cause it's not much magnification.
Stop, go back. You
Okay,
wear
all right.
readers in the car?
He's wearing bifocals, Mope. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. I don't wear, you guys have seen my little cords with my readers.
Yes.
Yes. So,
They go with your cardigans.
I don't
well.
normally, while I'm driving, I don't pick them up and put them on. So yeah, you're right. I don't normally.
You just veer senselessly from lane to lane. Don't put them on.
Something like that. So anyway, I bought a pair of sunglasses for walks, and they are like 2.0s because that's my reading magnification. My
Yeah.
computer's 1.25, reading 2.0. And it's great for walks, walking around, pick the phone up. You can read the phone crystal clear. You can see all the distance. No more having to pull my glasses on, take them off, right?
And this is just the readers on the bottom part of the lens, right?
Exactly.
Can but to be serious for a moment, why did you, well, because I've been just a tool so far. You really elected bifocals instead of progressives, eh?
Exactly.
Why? Just cheaper or?
I used progressives once. I needed long distance eyeglasses,
Yes,
which
yeah.
I don't right now. But anyway, I got prescribed them. And I found that when I was trying to use the computer, because the range that's correct is so small.
Oh, yeah.
I had to move my head to read across the screen.
Yeah.
I couldn't just move my eyes because my eyes would move into the non-magnifying
totally. I just
area.
abandoned them for that work. I
Yeah.
take them right off.
So I just returned them.
Oh, okay.
But you're probably right. If I had been thinking, well, wait a minute, this is not for computer, it's only for driving and stuff, then maybe I would have kept them.
Because I've used progressives for quite a while and find them really good for driving because your head position is, eyes level see the road. And when you want to look down at the gauges, typically you just flick your eyes down, and that's exactly what progressives are for, right? You just flick down.
And it is true, the bifocals, if I just flick my eyes down to look at the speedometer, turns out that I'm in that transition range right where the bifocals start.
Oh.
So it's even more blurry than if I wasn't wearing glasses or so there's that. So the whole idea is if I want to look at the CarPlay screen
Yeah.
where it has a speed limit on it and
Yeah.
my eyes are bad enough in normal light without magnification, I can't quite read. I can guess at the speed limit. That means that I tend to spend too much time peering at that display when I should be watching the traffic.
Yeah, running over children and stuff.
So now it's wonderful. I just do a quick little tilt up and I'm back in business.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I never tried actual bifocals. They have that line that you could cut your finger on.
Little
It's just
square in there, isn't it? Sometimes.
it goes right across the bottom.
Right. So these are the bifocals as well. because I branched out into.
Oh, you can actually see. I
Yeah,
can
you
see
can.
the little. Yeah.
So now I got
where it
4
is.
pairs. You know,
Oh my God.
sunglasses 2.0, clear glasses 2.0, sunglasses 1.25, clear glasses 1.25. The latter 2 are for driving. Perfect. The former 2 are for walks, where you need to look at your phone close up. So
I can't decide about that etched line in the bifocals. I just have no idea. Seems to me those ones have got a soft line, like it's not a really hard edged line. But that must mean that you do have to, like, there's a little spot there where you can't really see anything.
Yeah.
You can't see far, can't see close.
exactly. And if you're thinking about it like I am right now, it's in your lower peripheral vision.
Yeah, it is.
And so mildly annoying. And of course, you immediately forget about it when you're just living your life. It just goes away completely.
Yeah. I wonder if those are cheaper than progressives, though.
Yeah, they're more pricey than I wanted. They're like
I would bet.
$25 to $30 for foster grants.
That doesn't seem like much at all.
Doesn't seem like it, but then I'm used to buying dollar store glasses. So.
Because these stupid things were really expensive. And, you know, and I've often wondered, like, believe it or not, in spite of my behavior, I'm kind of glad you brought this up, because I've often wondered, when you first get progressives, you spend a lot of time micro tilting your head.
Yeah. You're thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, because you can't quite see, and you're aware that you've got something changing your ability to see. So you think you always have to adjust it.
Right.
So,
But after a while, it goes away.
Yeah.
But yeah, going up and down stairs, I wore progressives for a little while, but
Yeah.
drove me crazy.
Stairs are, that's true.
Because you got to look at them through the top part of the lens. And
Yeah.
But the difference with these is they are not prescription. They're just clear through the top.
Oh, what a fool I was.
Whereas you have prescription. No, you need it, right? Like what you have some kind of prescription for your
I
regular.
sure do. And that's why I'm saying I was a fool, because I forgot you mentioned at least twice that those are just pick them up off the shelf ones.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
I
they're so
get
cheap.
it. So it just means you don't have to pick them up off your chest. They're always right there,
exactly.
and you can look up above, and
Or you don't
nothing's
have to
there.
wear the Brian Mulroney half moon ones.
Yeah,
Way down at the end of your nose. Like
Yeah.
that.
Those are on purpose, so you can always be looking down at people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get those clear just for that.
Yeah.
They don't even need correction. So that song, Fly Me to the Moon, is in 4. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars.
So those kind of songs, I always think that you have to have a hey between lines. Fly me to the moon. Hey.
You don't have to. But I think probably you move up the scale of nightclub entertainment a little bit if you do throw a hey in there.
You can't do it every time either, and it should be moving on in the song, maybe the second or third.
And really, if you want maximum benefit from the hey, you got to give them the finger gun.
Oh, yes. Anybody here from Pittsburgh? Hey.
I don't know where we're going here.
We're going to listener mail.
Oh, good, because we've had some nice listener mail again lately. I love listener mail.
We had Nancy from New Westminster.
Nancy!
Hey.
Episode 182, Dogs in Cuffs. Ooh, guys, you stepped into my favorite area, grammar and language. I learned that I could care less means that if I wanted to bother, I could decide to care less. The correct expression is couldn't care less, meaning it's completely inconsequential. Thank you for that, Nancy. That is an excellent summary. On a side note, I heard RJ use the word irregardless.
Oh, I thought that was fun.
That was fun. I think Nancy didn't detect that I was kind of making fun of irregardless.
Well, I
just
think,
in my defense.
Yeah, I think the world has become irony deaf.
She might have heard that I said disirregardless. That's my favorite version.
What did I say?
Did I miss this part of the...
I usually go with irregardable, so it's clear that I'm
irregardable,
misusing.
Right, and disirregardless is like that.
That's right. No, it was just an aside. It's been going on since First City days. There was a guy, he went with the...
I remember him well. You've told me stories.
He would always say... it was not just irregardless. It was even more offensive than just irregardless.
You said irregardless all the time. Probably said irregardable as well in certain contexts.
I can't remember.
I had a team member that said irregardless, and I never, to my
To your eternal credit?
To my eternal credit, I never once corrected her on it.
Till now.
No, yeah, till now.
That-
But I think we were
not a
cutting this part. I don't know, really.
We're going to cut the name of that specific First City Trust manager.
Okay, there you go. On a side note,
Why?
I heard. Yes,
You think he's going to listen?
No, his kids probably do.
he might be dead by now.
It's fun. I think it's fun.
On a side note, I heard RJ use the word irregardless, nails on a chalkboard for me. I was taught that although it is often used, it is considered a non-standard word and should not be used in professional communications or academic writings. And I am 100% on side with that. Oh, she goes on to say, but I guess it's okay for the shed. Just to expand on give up the ghost, it came from the King James Bible in Mark 15:37. That's what I was thinking. It was 15:37, where it says, Jesus cried out with a loud voice and gave up the ghost.
I really liked that. I had only the vaguest recollection of that from my Sunday school days.
Should I do my preacher voice?
Sure.
Jesus cried out with a loud voice and gave up the ghost.
Maybe we'll edit that. I don't know.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I did like that, though. The specific quote and everything, I thought that was great.
He released his spirit upon death, she adds. I love how you bring these idioms to the table. We take so many of them for granted and never wonder where they come from. Like hand over fist. If you haven't mentioned it already, it means climbing a rope by hand on board a sailing ship. These ones, as we discovered a few episodes back,
Hand over
there's
fist?
so many nautical ones.
Yeah, there's tons of them, yeah.
Yeah. How about head over heels, guys? Does that engender a vision of someone flipping over?
Yep.
Yep.
Because, when I walk, my head's always over my heels. So I'm just trying to.
Oh, that's a fun point. I never even thought of that all these years.
You don't say heels over head.
You should say heels over head, right?
Yeah.
That would be the flip.
Head over
Isn't that fun? All
Head
this
over
time, I
heels.
never
Head
really
over
stopped and
heels.
thought about that.
I think we should write a letter to the
Yeah.
to the idiom
The idiom
authority.
idiot.
The idiom authority. Yeah.
Is that also nautical in origin? Do we have
Well, we're going to have to find that out.
Does she explain it? Nancy?
Hand over fist, she says. If you
Yeah.
haven't mentioned it already, it means climbing a rope by hand on board a sailing ship. As you reach up, your hand closes over your fist below. The term hand over fist evolved from making progress up a rope to making progress generally, and then only to making money. Because that's right. When we use that term, it's not, I was collecting shells hand over fist.
Actually,
you don't say that.
I think I would take some issue there.
Oh, come on. Give me an example where you're not making money and it sounds just natural.
Of course you would do that. Of course you would. You
Put you on
always
the
stick
spot.
up for everybody else.
I
but not
gave a
me.
counter
Why is that?
example already, collecting shells. I don't know where that came from.
No, I was thinking of if you're, you just say you're making progress hand over fist. We're moving leaves hand over fist.
Yeah.
We're moving this pile of stuff.
Yeah.
That pile of stuff's pretty weak, but
Yeah.
I kind of
You would have gone with by the bushel.
No, I wouldn't go with
For
by the
leaves?
bushel. I would have go, because it's the same situation in which you might say, I'm doing a land office business in leaves today. In other words, I'm moving just a pant load of leaves,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
Yeah, but I think she makes good. It's almost 100% of the time you hear it now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that is another example of welcome to change by usage.
Yeah, irregardless is too, because I
That's what
believe
I'm
if you
saying.
look it up in the dictionary, they'll say, yeah, if you really want to,
Yeah.
go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. It's and 2 years from now, it'll just be an entry. Won't
And
say
I mean, the same thing must have happened with inebriated and inebriated, only hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So we're all happy to say inebriated, but inebriated means drunk.
Does it?
Yes, it does. Inebriated also means drunk, probably because of the same cause. Like everyone started to say inebriated.
Wow, I wonder where a word like ebriate. So if I have a beer, did I ebriate? Where does that even come from?
Sounds vaguely Latin.
Yeah.
Well, while
Just
we're
didn't
still
know that
there, the expression head over heels
Yes.
comes from the earlier heels over head, which was used to refer to someone being literally upside down. Head over heels gained its figurative meaning in the 1800s, used to refer to someone who is completely enamored of another person.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So another example where it got flipped on its head and people were probably totally unhappy with about it.
Yeah.
About it, like could and couldn't care less, same thing. Like the opposite and then it just comes into common speech, and it's like a train.
And it's another one where I find myself wondering whether in love is its only use.
Yeah. Because the moment you said that it's in love, I thought,
Like if I'm going down the ski hill and I dig in the tips, I will say I go head over heels.
yes,
Or
you
ass
would.
over tea kettle,
but,
right? It's the same
yeah, but
thing.
that is a literal tumble.
I
So
know,
maybe
but-
that's true. Maybe it can be used for literal tumbles, but when you're using it figuratively, head over heels usually is a romantic.
Yeah, I
thing.
think that's fair to say, yes.
Yeah. Nice one, KJ.
Things you learn in here.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Fantastic
Yeah.
Thank you,
letter.
Nancy.
That's it for listener mail.
Thank you, listeners, and all your mail.
I did my first ever flight reservation for someone else. You know, I've done reservations for me and Sue together,
Yeah.
but at work in the office, when you needed to go on a trip, usually the admin assistant would do the booking. So I was the admin assistant today
For
for a master level foosball player from Victoria. He's going to fly over tomorrow night.
to further your interview.
Yeah, or the night after tomorrow, we're going to interview him Saturday night, and then he flies back the next day.
Was it challenging?
It was a little bit because I had to give my credit card number and the code and the thing, but I'd put his name and his address down for the ticket.
Yeah.
And there was no space to put my name and address down for the credit card.
Yeah. And so it didn't verify.
And then I thought, so this isn't going to work. So I got on the line to them, and then I was put on hold for forever, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And then so I thought, well, I guess I'll just click and try, and it just booked.
Oh, interesting.
So because I think there are a lot of situations in buying tickets that the admin assistant does it using the manager's credit card.
Yeah.
And so I think that's such a common practice that that's just the way it works. They accept a slightly lower level of security in exchange. I mean, if you know a card number and expiry date and the special code, it's likely you're going to know the name as well. So
Yeah. I just, as you were starting that one, I was thinking, haven't I done that before where I hesitated because I was paying for something for somebody else? I don't remember how it turned out, honestly.
yeah, I mean, aside of my lack of people skills, I would have been a good admin assistant.
You think, based on that one experience?
Yeah, well, because I was just communicating so well with Eric
my God.
and with the people trying to scare up the funding. So, and then with Eric, I sent the summary, the flight summary, okay to go, all that kind of stuff. Those little touches.
Well, it's
there.
good to know that if the big one hits, you can still land a job.
No, I set aside of my lack of people skills because you need those as well.
Do you? You sure?
No, we've known our share of assistants.
That's right.
Yeah, but we only saw, those were executive assistants.
That's right.
And they had amazing people skills with the executive.
Well, and
And with all us underlings, it's just, I
Yeah.
thought I told you to shut up.
That's right. I've spent all the energy I need to spend with you idiots.
Okay, hey, got any snappers?
Sure thing. So, did we do bugbear?
Nope.
There we go. That's where we're starting.
Bugbear. So first of all, to make sure I'm clear on the meaning, because I may not be quite honest, one of those words I've read quite a bit, never heard people use in speech that I can recall.
I'm not sure even why I've got it on my list. I'm obviously heard it someplace.
You heard it somewhere. Bugbear.
Or read it.
Fly in the ointment, or something that bothers people.
Believe that. It's like a burr under the saddle, I think.
A burr under the saddle?
I think it's like that. I think it's the same sort of thing.
An annoyance.
Yeah, you got a burr under his saddle about that. In other words, the horse is... Yeah, I think a bugbear is a recurring irritation.
Okay. Could it be related then to certain kinds of bugs that will crawl on bears and they get driven crazy trying to scratch it off?
Maybe.
I've looked this up, actually.
Well, if I was going to guess, I would guess that in the old days, they used to have bears and they would do bear baiting. So they'd have bears captive and then they'd essentially torture them for the amusement of passersby.
Is that a thing they used to do?
Oh, yeah. They would make them growl and snarl and everything. And they have to get them lit up so they would bait them. So my thought would be whatever they used to bait them might be a bugbear, maybe. I don't know.
Pretty
It's a
terrible.
guess.
Pretty terrible. What you got there, KJ?
Lay it on us, Mo.
Bug, boogie.
Related to boogie?
Boogeyman, scary. It's a fear.
Really?
It is, I think.
Totally wrong from me then.
Well,
I've always thought it meant an irritation.
Yeah, bugbear etymology.
Yeah, but what's the meaning?
A particular thing that annoys or upsets you. Smoking is a particular bugbear of his.
Okay, so an annoyance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, which is it? Is it a boogeyman or is it an annoyance?
Bugbear is a legendary creature or type of hobgoblin compared to the boogeyman or bugaboo or was a bow.
Sounds like that's the etymology, and the modern reason has transformed from something like the boogeyman to an annoyance. Is that fair?
Middle English word bug, B-U-G-G-E, a frightening thing. Maybe it's booga. Booga, yeah. Perhaps Old Welsh word BWG, evil spirit or goblin, or Old Scots bogle goblin, creepy bear that lurked in the woods to scare children.
Right, but what's the modern usage?
In modern context, the term bugbear may also mean pet peeve.
Yeah. So I think we've got it. It's an annoyance.
Yeah.
And it comes from an old kind of
Synonym.
boogeyman.
Yeah,
type.
synonym for the boogeyman.
Or a different kind of boogeyman. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, still in the B section. Brass tacks.
Let's get down to the essentials of the argument.
Nice.
Is that what it means?
I'm going, yeah. I think there's going to be something nautical here. I don't know why.
Because of the brass.
Yeah.
And because they're all nautical in the end.
Yeah, everything. I was thinking it might be from saddlery, like saddles that are, it's like bike seats will have rivets in them, and you can wear the bike seat out to the point where the rivets are a problem. So maybe you can wear something else out to the point where the tacks holding it together are a problem, like a chair or a saddle.
You know, if you have a saddle, you can put all kinds of decorative stuff on it and padding and this and that. But at the end of the day, if you want it to work, it just comes down to the brass tacks.
Nice.
That was very well.
Wow. Okay, now what's correct?
The origin of the first phrase, dating from the late 1800s, is disputed. That's how we start this. Some believe
That means
it
we're
alludes
all right.
to the brass tacks used under fine upholstery. Others that it is Cockney rhyming slang for hard facts. Let's get down to the hard facts. Yeah. And still others that it alludes to tacks hammered into sales counter to...
Oh, statement of account. Because the writing is an ad and you have to deal with it.
Oh,
I'm going to go with the Cockney slang. Since apparently all these experts hold steadfast to one opinion. Some believe this, others believe that. There's apparently none of them are thinking, well, it could be either way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it would be a function of improved communication across wider communities, right? So,
and according to another one, brass tacks being the last decoration that is put round a coffin. When a man gets down to brass tacks, he faces conditions as they are.
I like the Cockney
Let's get
slang.
down to brass tacks,
I'm not
or
making
we're
that.
going to die.
yeah, exactly. I'm not making that connection.
Facts, brass tacks.
Maybe. Those Cockneys. We need to hire a Cockney.
Yeah.
Somebody to come into the shed every 2 weeks just to handle all the rhyming slang crap that they've
Maybe
generated.
they could also be our intern as well.
That would be a bonus, but I think at this point we could keep them busy just with rhyming slang.
Do we think that what's the latest generation? Z?
I don't know.
Oh, it's
Like-
Gen A.
Oh, that's they're below 20 right now, aren't they? Or
I
something
think
like
they're
that.
like 15 and under, maybe something like that.
Like,
yeah.
do the current 20-year-old kids who grew up in a Cockney household, would they know Cockney rhyming slang?
Good question.
I'm going to say no.
Because you learn it from your buddies, not your parents.
Yeah.
Probably. Like you'll hear these sayings, but maybe your parents aren't explaining how they work to you.
Well, all we need to do is look at our long history with snappers and a number of words, expressions we know the meaning of, no idea where they came from.
Right, and when would people actually use it in their daily speaking?
I would argue that probably a lot of stuff is kicking around first started morphing from a literal phrase to a Cockney slang phrase 200 years ago, and it's still being used all the time.
Yeah. Fascinating, Skinny. Did we? Are we satisfied with whatever happened there?
I just want to do a review of the generations because we often refer to them, and I don't know when we've done this. So this is from Wikipedia, and it's kind of uses ranges, but basically our parents, meaning people born 1928 to 1945, were the silent generation, also known as the lucky few. They came of age in the post-World War II era. Now, your dad, Skin, was born when?
In 1918, so he came at 17. I'm not sure
which.
He
is the greatest generation.
Oh, really? So
they're the ones
that
fought
died
in
the
the
most?
Second World War.
Ones that died the most are the greatest?
I guess so. Baby boomers, that's us, born from 1946 to 1964. The idea is the men come home from the war and they make babies.
Yep, because they're enjoying all that post-war prosperity.
Gen X is the one we kind of forget about, but there's a lot of people in Gen X. That's the one after the baby boomers, born between 65 and 80. Millennials, we talk about a lot because our kids are millennials, I believe, all three of us. And probably
what's the years? I don't actually know.
Born 81 to 96.
A couple of my kids are, anyways.
Gen Z. People succeeding the millennials, and we think of them as the super young kids. They're in their prime right now, like going out, dancing, doing all that stuff, not married yet. Born 97 to 2012.
Yeah, so I got a X and a Z.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so from right now, they're age 12 to 20 something.
Sorry, two.
What is a generation? Are they standard years long?
No, those frames are like rough. Some of them are 20 years, some of them are 16, some of them are 24.
Yeah.
And I think they're looking for societal changes.
Yeah.
Like the end of World War II was a big date. So that's why they have a dividing line right there, for example. And then Gen Alpha is popular to say people born in the early 2010s as the starting years, and the mid-20s as the ending birth years. So Gen Beta will start in about a year.
Yeah, because what I was wondering about is whether or not, it's kind of what Moby asked too, is the length of generation, whether or not in an attempt to give everybody a letter.
Yes, they all abut.
Well, do we just, if you were born in the 2 weeks right around the Kennedy assassination, you're a boomer plus. If you were born in the 3 months right after the Americans left Vietnam in 1970, there's societal events that are a big deal. And if everybody wants to claim they are a certain way or have lived a certain life because they were born or grew up in a certain very narrow time range, do they get their own letter? That's all I was getting at. Sounds like no.
No, because there's no authority on this anyway. All the Wikipedia article tries to do is generalize from popular communications.
Yeah.
So, and then you end up with ranges, and I'm sure there'd be no end of writing about the cusp years and how there's also, there's a whole section called controversy, and that would be about people who are whining about these terms, right?
Yes.
And also it says this is the North American one. It actually changes based on where you are in the world. And you can imagine that, in South Africa, people born after 1994 general election is the first after apartheid was ended. So that, they'll start talking about those generations, right? And that's fair enough.
So does that mean we can conclude that it is a categorization of limited value?
Or how about if you just, on your own, Skinny, you start doing those specific little cusp ones, and you start giving them letters and plus signs and stuff.
I'm part of Generation Awesome because Elvis was just becoming super popular the year I was born.
Do a YouTube video because these days that's how you need to get it out there, and then get interviewed on some of the other platforms.
I just wondered about those because there is a lot of controversy about those labels, and I have sometimes wondered what value they really have.
Well, Philip N. Cohen.
Oh, Philip.
He's a sociology professor at the University of Maryland. criticized the use of generation labels, stating that the labels are imposed by survey researchers, journalists, or marketing firms and drive people towards stereotyping and rash character judgment.
Nothing worse than a rash character judgment.
I think Cohen's right.
I think he's right, and I think if they just did away with those, there would be no more rash character judgments.
So are we going to commit right here and now to never mention the generations again?
I'm for it.
I know I'm not going to commit.
I'm not going to commit.
I enjoy
it just
using
might slip out.
I love throwing those terms around.
I dislike those terms quite a lot.
So those Gen Alpha kids, they're so spoiled. Have you noticed?
Oh my God! You should hear Corey the T, who's over here quite a lot, talking about the millennial, whoever. Oh,
does he not listen to our? Didn't we just release an episode, or are about to release an episode, that demonstrates, as only one in an ocean of examples, that participation medals were being done when we were little kids. It's not just something that started in the year 2000 or something.
Yeah,
like that's just one example.
It's one of our favorite.
New under the sun.
It's one of our favorite topics. Is that all the criticism of kids these days is? It's just it goes back to Socrates' time
or earlier
But just because Corey does it, I mean, most people do.
When I was young, we held the soot in our mouths to paint outlines of our hands on the cave wall, and now the kids just dip a brush in it.
Uphill both ways.
I don't know what. Yeah, bare feet. Like it is. I'm going to try pretty hard not to use generational labels because I think they're useless.
There's tendencies. Us boomers didn't have smartphones when we were young. That's a fact. That's not up for. Oh, wait a minute. There's all exceptions.
Yes.
No, there are no exceptions.
So then tell me then what
the implications are?
Yeah, what are the character implications of that fact? Any?
No.
No. So what the hell good is that? It's like saying,
well, no, there are
Velcro hadn't been invented.
KJ, implications?
Well, I've just watched. I'm asking if you guys have watched the Antisocial Network.
Nope.
No.
Well, it's about 4chan. Do you know what that is? It's an extremely right-wing
yes.
Website, I believe. QAnon.
Which came out of 4chan primarily.
Yep. 4chan, which came out of 2chan, which is just started in Japan. How it resulted in the January 6th insurrection. And these guys, it started with just outrage. This is an anonymous site. I can do anything I want.
Completely anonymous.
Completely anonymous. And that's where all this Pizzagate, that whole thing with the pedophiles in the basement or the children in the basement and Hillary Clinton, that's all started, and it becomes, over time, fact in people's minds.
And the sad thing about that is the people who start it completely know it's false. And they're literally, in my opinion, I could be wrong, I think 9 times out of 10, they're 14, 15-year-old boys.
Yes.
And they're thinking, it's a different kind of when we used to kind of call up a store and say, do you have Prince Albert in the can? That kind of level.
Yeah.
These guys are going, you watch, this one will have legs.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
And now they post, and of course the impact is.
Because even if you got the guy who initiated some crazy conspiracy theory to go on MSNBC or Fox or wherever and say, I'm the guy who invented that, and here's the thing that I sent out to this list of people to start it, wouldn't make any difference. The people who believe that thing will continue to believe it.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's exactly what happens in the Antisocial Network.
Yeah.
Also, and this is Breitbart comes out of this, and who was working at Breitbart was Steve Bannon, and Bannon actually said out loud, here is your army.
Yeah.
This mass of people who believe in all these crazy things, and they're buying it, and they're promoting it, or
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's
Legitimizing it,
rather fascinating. And some were indicted, some went to prison.
Yeah.
And some of these guys were interviewed, and they said, get away from the screens, kids. Take some time away. Go out and smell the roses. Because, anyway, cool little movie.
Yeah, that said,
Docu.
I love throwing around the generations because...
And
we make generalizations all the time. Like, that's the way humans work. So we'd say that, the French are annoyed if you don't try to speak French. Is that true? No, 100%? No, there's going to be some French who just don't care. But we like to make generalizations because it makes for good conversation. And I think making generalizations about generations is fine.
So in your experience then, do generalizations, are they positive or negative?
Oh, in my experience, I actually tend towards the positive, especially when I'm talking about younger generations. In general, people tend to be, those kids these days, mode. So some of the items I brought into the shed are, I want to talk about why do we think that kids are doing something worse.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've heard about Gen Alpha is they're actually putting their phones away more. Now, they're young. A lot of the times it's by enforcement, like the schools are saying, sorry, but you got to check your phones in. But there seems to be some kind of a trend happening in Gen Alpha towards becoming more real in the playground and interacting. So anyway, I love making generalizations anyway. Just every single statement you ever make is not 100% true.
Yeah. And I'm kind of needling there because I also do it all the time. I agree with you. It is absolutely a really huge human trait. Any social animal is going to generalize. For instance, a herd of animals that have a certain pattern of color and another herd of the same species from just over the other side of the hill, they're just enemies because they don't have the same color. They don't bother thinking about,
in a lot of cases,
anything. They just do it. And that's our genetic heritage to generalize like that.
Well, generalize, a lot of people generalize in a negative way, but lots of people generalize in positive ways.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we think that there will be a change in the labeling of the generations because of the smartphone?
I would think that is a really huge dividing line.
That's a fun.
Which is what year? What are we talking, like
2007 for the iPhone. But maybe you look at when did it become a thing to buy your kid a phone?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So that was more like 2011, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't buy it until your kid's like, say, 12. Let's say 11 for the sake of argument.
Well, didn't you say one of the generations started in 2012? Is that Alpha?
Yeah, but you would look at 2012 for 12-year-olds, so you'd go back to 2000 because you don't give a 1-year-old a phone, right?
I think you do. I saw one yesterday.
Oh my God, the iPad is really common with toddlers.
I saw a kid like this in a stroller. Mom, the two ladies were talking, and the kid was just like this, and she couldn't have been 2.
Well, I'm going to try to stay away from the generational labels because I can't track them at all. I just have no idea, and I don't want to have much of an idea.
Yeah,
so
you do have an idea because I just read through them, and you didn't just go blah, 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 Gen X, blah,
is that really
blah,
what you
blah,
think?
blah, blah.
It's so nice for you to think that.
Yeah.
Shall we move on, or do you want to?
Let's move on.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so sure.
Couple more terms.
The next one is Oblast, Oblast.
Ooh, I know that one.
And it says here, what country is the Jewish Autonomous Oblast in? So that was my reference.
Yeah. I feel like it could be Ukraine, Russia, or both. But just because when you're reading about the war, the current war, you'll hear about in the Donetsk Oblast. And I think of it as a county.
Yeah, I'm on the sort of same page. I would have said Russia right away, but I'm not really 100% certain I know what Russia is anymore. Who's dependent, who's independent,
Yeah, it's pretty well all just Russia plus parts of Ukraine right now.
Yeah. Well, then I would have said Russia, but...
Oh, there it is right there. An administrative division or region in Russia and the former Soviet Union and in some of its former constituent republics. Oh, I didn't know that it was an administration division. There you go.
County, or I guess for Russia, it would be similar in size to states, maybe, to the U.S. states or the provinces.
They have parishes in the States still.
They have...
Are there parishes in Ontario too?
That's a church thing, though, right?
Originally,
but it turned into a voting
it's administrative.
A region. Moving on. Next one I got here is John Doe. Where'd that come from? Skinny?
I don't know, actually. I used to know that.
He's
I
probably
read
a
that.
sailor, right?
No,
Rich?
I don't know.
I think so. I think it's from the 1600s.
Yeah.
No,
Or the
I
16th
think it's
century,
quite
I
a
should
bit
say.
more recent than that. I think it's from the 1900s. But I can't remember. There was an actual reason that they called somebody John Doe, and I can't remember whether...
Maybe it's because Smith is a real name. So, because you could
Yeah.
go with John Smith, right? But then there's a lot of John Smiths, and so that's confusing.
Yeah.
Why not choose a surname that is actually not common?
Yeah, there was something like that, and I think it's fairly recent, like I say, sometime in the 1900s, and I can't remember whether John Doe was what you said, which sounds very reasonable, or whether it was one of those things where it stood for the letters of words that describe a corpse without an identity.
Okay, well, you sound pretty sure, but I'm still going to
Well, I'm
say...
just guessing,
I'm
honestly.
still going to say it comes from a lot earlier.
Okay.
And it would have started as Johann somebody.
Okay.
But I'm just... That's a wild guess. as
Yeah,
well.
Lay it on us, man.
I like Johann. Anonymous party, typically the plaintiff in a legal action, identified only as John Doe. The plaintiff says he was on an academic scholarship. Multiple use placeholder names that are used in the United States when the true name of a person is unknown or being intentionally concealed.
Okay.
Oh, these names are also often used to refer to a hypothetical everyman in other contexts like John Q. Public or Joe Public. Mm-hmm. There are variants, John or Richard / Jane Doe, John Jane Smith, blogs, Johnny Janie Doe, or just Baby Doe for children.
I'm loving this.
English. Oh, you're right, Rich. Oh, geez, 1327 to 1377.
Nice.
I'm going to sleep well tonight.
Regular.
Skin's going to have tears on his pillow.
That's right.
Oh.
Tears on the great fella.
Richard, John Doe, or John Doe, and Richard Roe, along with John Roe, were
It's not the Cogneys again, is it?
regularly invoked in English legal instruments to satisfy technical requirements governing standing and jurisdiction, beginning perhaps as early as the reign of England's King Edward III, 1327 to 77. Although the rationale behind the choices of Doe and Roe is unknown, there are many suggested folk etymologies. John Noakes, John Styles. The use is mocked in the 1834 English song John Doe and Richard Roe.
Well, the salient point was it was in the 1300s, as RJ predicted. So,
Yeah.
there's a parade assembling now.
And the concept was even earlier in ancient Rome, but completely different names.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the idea of having a generic name.
A placeholder for legal proceedings when you don't know the real name.
Yeah, you don't know the real name
Or you don't want to publish it.
don't want the real name known.
Nice.
All right, next word, Mob.
Hascap berries, which I hadn't heard of, and do you guys know of them? HASCAP, Hascap berries.
Never heard of them.
No,
Gonna say not indigenous to BC.
I'm going to say they're Saskatoon berries by another name.
Nice. Well done, Skinny.
Because I got
Out on a ledge.
Hascap. No idea, though.
Hascaps originate from the honeysuckle group of plants and produce an edible berry native to Canada's boreal regions.
Boreal, that's up north, right?
Yeah, I think
Canadian
that's all of
hascap is
northern
extremely
Ontario
hardy
is
and is the
boreal.
first fruit crop of the season to ripen.
There you
Hascap
go.
berries. Well,
Did
there you go.
not
So
know.
it's... And that's it for Snappers this week. I've watched something that came through in one of your guys' feeds.
Stick reviews.
Yeah, the stick reviews. Those are awesome.
Oh, yeah. Stick.
2 million followers.
Oh, yeah.
Has that guy really got 2 million?
I saw that one,
It's
yeah.
not that guy. People post to it. And it's awesome. Like, it's just like goodwill, isn't it? There's not a hint. I mean, behind it, as a person's presenting about this awesome stick they found, is in the back of their minds is this is silly and this is fun.
Yeah.
But on the front, how they present it is a serious review of a stick, right? It's just fantastic.
There's been a bunch of stuff in the feed. There's been Kamala Harris stuff. There's been Christopher Hitchens making a speech about free speech. There's been,
That's the one. Yeah. I listened to that twice.
The Christopher Hitchens one.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's fascinating is he's not using teleprompters. He has notes, no doubt, He's an accomplished speaker, but he's old school intellect.
Oh,
That
yeah,
guy
yeah.
is just like, oh my God. He's just coming up with all these asides and
Yeah,
he
for sure.
speaks. Well, he's dead now, but he spoke constantly.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Lung cancer?
Died of cancer, yeah. Was he a smoker? Is that
Oh,
what
yeah,
you said? Lung
yeah.
cancer? Yeah.
I think you can see interviews with him smoking.
Yeah. Went to the PNE the other day, and of course, listeners, by the time you hear this, the other day is probably 4 months earlier, but we went to see Daryl Hall perform. Of course, Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates.
Oh,
That was in the news.
Yeah, it was in the news, and one of the things about that is you get a free entry to the PNE. And we've done this before. I think once a year we go to a show at the PNE, and they're almost always good. The venues are good. And every year we go and see Superdogs and wander through the PNE. And it was just great this year. Like the market this year, I think they downsized it because the market nowadays is not like it was in, say, the 80s, where it would be just full of all those people selling Jinsu knives and stuff.
yeah.
I think with the onset of the internet and the ability to just at the drop of a hat, you buy some crazy gimmick doodad on Amazon.
Yeah.
The appeal of some amazing gimmick live is less so. So they've downsized that.
The now or never pitch is gone.
But the results of the downsizing is there's an intensity still. So it was kind of cool. Like as we walk through, there's all the excitement of the people, and I'm going, oh, Sue, look at this. And she's trying to pull me away. And I'm going, oh, look at that mop. Look how it gets the water. Oh, my goodness.
So it's still the same kind of fringy products like the Veg-O-Matics and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, there's, I didn't see the slicers dicers this year, but there is a lot of stuff still. And it's pretty interesting. It was actually fun to walk through.
ShamWow.
And we bought a whole bunch of ShamWows and we used them.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
because
I bought some.
because
And I
Sue's
did
mom's basement had a slow leak, and we just tossed down some of those, and they'd really absorb a huge amount of water. So yeah, part of the fascination is the products. I find much more interesting the sales pitches, like stepping back and watching the salesperson perform. How do they do?
Yeah.
How do they get people interested? What do they offer?
Who do they
Does the
focus
price
on?
suddenly drop at the end where they go? And right now, only because the
Yeah.
PNE fair we were going to offer,
Yeah.
all
Well, I
that
said
stuff.
and I misspoke. It's the now or never thing. So back in the day before the internet, a lot of those products would, a key part of their pitch would be, you can only get it here and for as long as the PNE's on.
Yeah, that's
so you got to
true.
buy now. We won't see it again until next year at the earliest.
Very true. Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah.
But the instant price drop thing, that's still there. So if they start high and then do a price drop.
Yeah, that's still available. I walked up to one. It was one of those rain head showers, whatever you
Yeah.
call those. Great big massive ring, right?
Yeah.
And a fair amount of water coming out of it. And first thing that hits my mind is, I wonder what kind of pressure they're running through this baby right now. And I get close and there's a sign that says this is standard 60-pound PSI water pressure, which is what I run my house at.
I think a lot of houses don't actually get 60 PSI. That's kind of a
So
maximum.
anyway,
I
that's
think.
we can turn it right up to 100 if we want to
Really?
risk flooding, but we have ours set to 60 so the sprinklers go nice and
Yeah.
but so actually I thought that was quite interesting. Whether
It is
they're-
fun because obviously a frequently asked question.
I was preparing the question, but he was talking to somebody already, so I couldn't. I
Yeah.
didn't want to just blurt out the question. And then thankfully, while I was waiting for him to finish
Yeah.
talking to the other person, I saw the little sign. So
Yeah, so you didn't have to hear, well, as you'll see in the sign right there to your right.
exactly,
You didn't have to hear that.
Yeah. So anyway, the other thing we did was, we ate there after Super Dogs. I don't really need to even say about Super Dogs because it's really the same every year.
It's great.
Other than that the guy who traditionally hosted it died.
Oh,
He retired. I assumed he died because I feel like when a Bob Barker-like person retires at like 88, you just think they're done.
yeah.
But anyway, the new guy's fine. He wears a kind of gaudy outfit. And
Wish I had one of those gaudy outfits.
oh, I know. His
do.
was pretty remarkable.
A guy at work used to have one Mike, whose last name shall remain unannounced, and it was blue sequins. And we had to MC a couple of little things, the divisional meetings where we were going to have a quiz of some sort. And he got to wear that, and I thought, oh, shit, that jacket is perfect for this kind of thing. You just wear your regular work clothes, but you put on this stupid jacket, and you're instantly an MC.
I'll look for one of those for you, Skinny.
Do.
I'll just pass this picture around you guys. It's a little blurry because I had to magnify it.
Oh, that's very excellent. See, one of those would do, but I would really like the sequins, the sparkly sequins.
Yeah, it's sparkly.
Each one of them are size of about a quarter.
Yeah, the food was excellent. I decided to go for, when you go to a festival, there's always these ribs places. And for some reason, the ribs places have just a massive facade. It's actually behind the servers, but it goes up like 2 stories high. And it's got always won this award, and they talk about their ribs in great big letters. I don't know why, but that's what
make it look like a roadhouse, do you think?
Yeah, maybe it's meant to emulate something. The ribs were fantastic. And I'm not a ribs guy. I don't seek out ribs, but I had some sense at a tiki bar recently. It's a whole different thing.
I feel some folksy wisdom coming on there. Don't ever eat ribs at a tiki bar.
Yeah, ribs at a tiki bar, I'd say no to. They were fine, but these ones were magical. They were just like, I got a third of a rack, I believe, or was it a half rack? I can't remember which, but it was just like $19 for a part of a rack, which seems like a lot, but they were meaty, and they tasted so great. Sue got a burger from Jimmy's because it's been in continuous operation since 1950 something at the PNE or something. So she said it was fine.
Just a burger, though.
Just a burger. So anyway, the food was great. And then just walking around, all the food stuff was great. No longer a PNE house. Remember when you used to be able to go there, walk through the house?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They don't do that?
They don't do that anymore. I guess with construction costs, and I mean, it was always a fake house anyway. I get that. Like behind this, it's not like they're going to put in insulation or anything like that. But
there's a Ken Lum installation.
I think it just costs too much. So basically, you can see what you're going to win. But
yeah,
and I never enter that because I'm not into gambling. Then we walked through the Playland, and that was a lot of fun to walk through because the rides were all going pretty good, and there's all the screams. Did you know they have a brand new roller coaster there?
I did not.
I have a photo of that as well.
They still have the old one running, though, right?
They still have the old one running, but the new one's pretty awesome.
So that tells you that the old one is probably getting there. Like, I don't know why that thing is still standing, honestly.
The new one has all the loop-the-loops and stuff. And it's got that triangle track, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And then that way the cars can go right upside down on it and flip around. So I'll just give you a picture of this.
Not for me.
I was gonna when I was there, I was thinking, how about a field trip? Let's do one last roller coaster ride together.
You know what? This thing.
That's not.
I will. This thing looks fabulous.
It does.
I will.
But that wooden one.
The wooden one
thing is the king of terror.
I don't think so.
Oh man. You ever ride in the very rear car of that thing?
It's you get whipped around in the rear car, and the front car can be pretty heavy duty. Even though the front car is the least likely to sway, it's still pretty. You're right in front, right? You can see things.
Yeah, the last car. I actually think the last time I might have done that, it might have been with Cromer of Duncan, and it was terrifying. I mean, like the front car goes over the top of the highest place at whatever rate and begins accelerating, right?
Yeah.
So when that last car clears that thing, you hold on to that bar and you're across your lap because otherwise you'll just eject.
It's because there's a little bit of give between each of the cars. So amongst all the cars, that give gets multiplied out.
Yeah.
And so at the back car, you're going to go that much faster just coming in.
Whip through there.
Yeah.
Man.
I do remember the first time I went over that wooden one.
It's so rickety.
And it looks like so much fun. And then I remember slowly climbing up the first hill.
Yeah.
And I remember starting to think, I guess there's no way out of this. Like,
there is.
just being scared, like just all of a sudden realizing that what kind of mistake have I made here?
There's a way out. Death. Death is the way out. That thing's terrifying. The new one will be a lot of fun. I mean, you guys have ridden those new ones, right?
Take the old one though in the front. It's actually very fun and not terrifying.
I have done that, and it is not terrifying. I did it when the kids were little.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm taking a little kid that actually could slip out from underneath that lap bar.
Right.
No way I'm putting them in the back. So we did it in the front. And it was pretty fun.
No, when the kids were little, I rode that one that goes, not the roller coaster, but it's the ride where you all strap in, go straight up really high, and then you just drop.
Oh, man.
Oh,
and it feels like you're free falling.
Isn't that the elevator?
And I remember thinking, this was well before my first heart attack. I remember thinking, am I getting too old? Could I have a heart incident? I remember thinking that. Right?
I never think about it. I should.
But the elevator is another one of those ones that's scary until you're actually dropping.
Yeah.
And when you're dropping, you're going, this is great. Yeah. It's just like a fast elevator.
Yeah. Just because you're so strapped in. It's over your shoulders and across your leg. You can't go anywhere.
It just feels great.
You ever ride the Wild Mouse in there?
I rode the Wild Mouse in Seattle in 1963 as a child on our one trip up to Canada, and I would have been 7, and it was terrifying.
I found it terrifying.
Because that thing jerks.
Well, and you can't see down below you, so you're way up high, and it's heading for, looks like UBC. You can't. Right. And then it just drops. It looks like you're going to go right off into space, and then it just jerks 90 degrees to the right.
Yeah.
And you go to the next thing. Like it's on rails, but the rail
but it's a slow thing going.
But it does do little roller coaster
little
thingies.
swoopy bits.
Oh yeah.
And it's small. The cars are small.
2-person car, I believe, and terrifying. Oof to me. So I'll go on that new coaster, and maybe if I can really muster up my courage, I'd go on the wooden one again. But
yeah, sometimes the newer coasters are not as scary because they're so well built.
Well, because they feel safe and solid.
Yeah.
Whereas that wooden one, you just sort of think, if one guy had one day where he wasn't on the job, you could die here. If he came in half asleep and missed something, it could be all over.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like that.
And whoever runs that part of Playland, the rides, they got to be worried, because if there ever is a death, that hurts your sales for 10 more years. Like it does. You don't recover fast from that.
I'm sure I don't know. I take your word for it.
You're sure you don't know?
Because there's been deaths at all kinds of parks, right?
Yes, and those parks, their sales hurt.
Yeah.
And especially in a small market like this. I could see in like one of those big New Jersey
now
ones.
Now you're getting there, yeah.
But
now you're getting there. You're right about that for sure.
People forget. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. So that was really fun. And then the concert was Daryl Hall. And if listeners, you might have read this in the paper, but anyway, Sue and I are there, and there was an opening act, I think. If there was, we skipped it. Anyway, we show up there, and we're right at the end, right at the back. We're behind the sound booth, so we can get the best sound, and also the tickets are cheapest, and we're raised up, and we got binoculars.
Is it the new amphitheater?
No, the new amphitheater is going to be another couple of years.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. There was a contest to name it, and I'm going to put that in air quotes because the answer was whatever vendor name is paying for it.
Yeah.
The woman, I think TELUS, and the woman was there. No, people voted for TELUS. Okay. Oh, I see. Your choices were TELUS Amphitheater or Kudo Premium Lounge. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Oh, I thought it was done this year for some reason.
Yeah, no, I think maybe next year, and it does look pretty fabulous, and most of it's undercover. Yet it's got this crazy thing that goes over the top, yet it's open air on the sides, so it'll be a nice.
No, I think the headlines were that it prevents sound from escaping from the site.
Oh yes, yeah, because there was big complaints about that.
I can well imagine.
Yeah. anyway, so that was great. So we're watching Daryl Hall. Got a couple of talkers behind us, but that's fine. They're talkers until the show starts, and it turns out they're those kind of talkers that actually are there to listen to the music, so it's good. So yeah, so he does one, he plays one, and the sound is not as good as I'd hoped, but it's okay, it's pretty good. And is his voice a little hoarse? Sure. Do I care? He's old, right? Like, you're just here for the atmosphere.
It's the P&E. I mean,
it's the P&E, and it's whatever, right? So we've seen some amazing acts at the P&E, mind you. Some of these old acts, they'll come back and they perform so well. Like
I always think places like the P&E is where Chubby Checker may still be dancing.
Yeah, he could be, and I think the twist, and I think who's the Guess Who singer? Burton Cummings. Apparently, he just knocked him dead at this year's P&E. So the talker behind us told me that afterwards. But anyway, so we watch, and then they do another one, and this one I don't recognize really. And I've seen Hall & Oates before at the Bumbershoot. And the remarkable thing about, this is sidebar, the remarkable thing about that concert was Hall & Oates never looked at each other the entire concert.
The feud had begun.
Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed it for that. The music was great and everything, but you could see no real love lost.
Give us one of their songs. I know Hall & Oates, but I don't.
Out of Touch, Man Eater, You Make My Dreams. Oh, Kiss was on my list. Way to go, me. A little round of applause for
Your
me.
Kiss is on my list.
Way to go, me.
Man Eater? He was a man.
He's a man eater.
So he does another piece, and I don't recognize it. And then he couple, I guess. He'd played 3 songs, and then he moves over to the piano, and the lights go dark on other parts of the stage, and now it's just him at the piano. And then, this will be a nice change, because these have been all rock, bass heavy, can't really hear things, a little sludgy sound. Be a nice counterpoint to have a little piano and vocals.
Ballad time.
It's ballad time. Somebody yells something out that I can't hear what they say, and he looks up and he says, "Hey man, I'm doing the best I can here." So I'm thinking, there's always a bozo in every crowd, right? So
I just think
then he kind of gets ready, and then he looks up and he says, I just can't do it.
Oh.
And he stands up and he walks off the stage.
Oh.
And to the crowd's benefit, they all cheered. We all cheered. Everyone encouraging him. We're all together. We're all old people here. Come on, man. Do your best. And nobody's like mad at him. Like,
well, except that one guy.
Except for the one guy.
Because he thought it was a joke, man.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. So nobody's throwing stuff on stage, nothing. So now they've all left the stage, and now we start talking to the talker behind us, and the 4 of us are chit-chatting and stuff. And we're going.
They're doing a podcast somewhere talking about the talkers in front of them.
Could be. We're going. Yeah, it's possible. Could he come back? And I'm thinking, I don't know. And then after like 10 or 12 minutes, guy comes out from behind the stage, who clearly doesn't want to be in front of a microphone, and he says, "We're discussing, and we will have more news soon." Turns around, walks off. And now we're all talking, what are they discussing? First of all, you got to be on the phone to Live Nation. How do the refunds work? Are there refunds? What's going on? He's already performed 3 songs. You just know that there's those conversations. The venue needs their pay cut. They got to pay the staff for the whole night, I'm sure.
Meanwhile, Daryl Hall's already on an IV back there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so there's all those conversations. So
ventilator.
So then another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, guy comes out. He's better dressed, and a different guy, and he can speak, and he's going, yeah. So we're just handling a few things. Daryl Hall's not feeling super well, but if things go right, he'll be back in just minutes. And Sue's going, yeah, great. He's coming back. I said, no, he's not coming back. And just minutes, by the way, is going to be 30.
So someone's Googling the maximum amount of adrenaline that you can give somebody at whatever age.
So it was just fun talking to the other, because they talked about how they saw Burton Cummings and he was amazing. That's where I heard that part. And so about, 20, 30 minutes later, a guy comes out and says, we're really, really sorry, but Daryl Hall will not be able to play tonight. The people who who bought tickets online will get refunds. He covered that in his second sentence. Like, he doesn't want to be talking for a few minutes while people's anger just builds up, right? And then people who bought our tickets here tonight go back to the box office and they will make arrangements with you, something like that. So, yeah, and then it was in the newspaper, and I think they said he got COVID, but, you know, whatever happened, he was not feeling great. I think he probably had upper respiratory, probably.
Well, I wonder if he tested.
Yeah.
He went backstage and
tested right away.
And let's just wait this 15 minutes to make sure.
But my hearing's bad, but other people were saying he sounded pretty croaky in that first song. And
I wonder if the guy who made the remark is now struggling with massive guilt over it.
Well, I would hope that he had tears on his pillow that night.
Yeah, shriveled the last of his mojo, and he had to just, I can't. It goes off stage.
Yeah.
He was ready to just put it all aside.
That's what ostracization is about, too. You hope that the people around him would have yelled some stuff at him and stuff.
Or,
well, you know, hit him with their umbrellas, because they're all old. They're carrying umbrellas.
Yeah.
Purses.
So then I got the refund. They said we got our email that day saying, you know, we'll get your refunds within 14 days. Cash flow, you know, the accountants. Keep it for a bit. Just keep it. The newspaper account said everyone got an instant refund. You know, so I'm here to tell you that was not true.
Oh, and then it's so hard to get a letter to the editor now that it's not paper.
So then I looked at the accounting transactions, and we paid $106. We actually paid over $100 each for these tickets.
wow.
Yeah, so it was like maybe it was $210, I think. We paid $214, and the refund was $210. Going, what?
Yeah, what?
You know, I'm getting angry here.
Right?
Not really, not exactly. But anyway, I go back at the purchase. Bottom line, purchase fee $4. You know, the transaction fee, like even if you bought 10 tickets, it would be only $4 spread amongst the 10. So I'm going, I'm not going to write a letter to anyone. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to waste my time over $4. But, And then a mystery transaction showed up 8 days later with no explanation or email accompanying, minus $4. So that somebody said, come on, you guys. And so they actually got us the last $4 back too.
Nice.
That's interesting. Maybe the $4 was the responsibility of a different organization.
Could be.
And they had a while.
Exactly. Like Ticketmaster going, wait a minute, we're not profitable enough.
Yeah. So you guys who own this building that we're going to get that for, whatever it is, you pony up the $4 a head. $4.
Some lawsuits underway with Ticketmaster. They're doing so many things bad now, evil things, dark patterns, as they say, that they have to choose which ones they're going to go after. You know, in the U.S., I think they have better laws than here. I think they have a law in the wings, maybe, where
I think they do. Yeah.
Ticketmaster is going to have to just always show the full price.
Yeah.
In the biggest numbers.
But I think it's still in the wings, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they've quite done it. And there's a lawsuit that's underway about surge pricing.
Good. That's good.
Because Sue was checking tickets too many times. She'd keep going back. Wasn't ready to buy yet. And then she was ready to buy, and the tickets were like 80% more.
Wow.
For the same seats. And then a few days later, they were back down to what they were. So Sue's suspicion is it's not just surge pricing, it's Sue pricing. You've been checking a lot. There was a gap, and now you check one more time. Let's just see if we can bump it way up. You know,
and vice versa.
They're up to no good. Right?
Yeah.
Now, explain the numbers to me there. The surge pricing, is the venue getting that money, or is the artist getting that money, or is it a cut?
Or is Ticketmaster?
I think it might be Ticketmaster, but it might not be. There might be a complicated formula that's really hard for the artist understanding, but the wonks at Ticketmaster understand it really well. We don't actually know. It's all under NDA and hidden.
Like, for instance, what are Taylor Swift tickets? Like, how much are they?
Oh, okay. So without surges, kind of like, I think they started around $250 and up.
And was there surges? Because how were those sold? She doesn't use Doesn't she have her own?
Once the algorithm realizes that, you know how they let you get in line?
Yeah.
That's for them. It's not as a favor. Oh, this is a nice way for you to wait.
Or it's just to
Customer
see how many
service.
people are going to get in line.
They go, holy smokes, we're going to bump this one up to $800.
Yeah.
And people are just buying it. They're selling out at $800,
All right.
maybe $500 to $900. And then, of course, there's the resale. Like when you decide you bought your 4, and despite how happy your 11-year-old daughter is, you realize that you can make $4,000 on the whole transaction. So now you sell them back to Ticketmaster to resell. Only Ticketmaster makes it look like you're selling it direct to some buyer, but Ticketmaster charges you a big fee on it. And then that buyer, they charge them a big fee on it. Mm-hmm. So the next thing you know, they're picking up another couple $100 per ticket because you're reselling them now for $2,000.
Yeah.
They're maybe picking up $300 per. It's just obscene what they're doing.
But didn't Taylor Swift get away from all that as far as
she was unhappy about it?
But would she still be using Ticketmaster?
You can't do a major tour without Ticketmaster. They're a monopoly.
Oh, I thought that.
Yeah, they own all the venues. They don't own them. They have ironclad contracts with all the big venues.
Yeah.
They have a company called Live Nation that owns them. Live Nation does the contracts with the venues. One time I tried to get a refund from Ticketmaster. They said that's up to the producer of the concert. Who's the producer? Live Nation. Okay, so now I'm talking to Live Nation. They say, well, request your refund through Ticketmaster. And then there was, the polite emails. And then at the end, I'm saying, so I'm back with you, Ticketmaster, asking for the refund. Here's the email from Live Nation telling us to request it through you. So I assume that you're going to be good now. No reply. Right? It's just a brutal business. And consumer protection hit its peak in the 80s and 90s. It's at its trough now, and I like to think that people like Elizabeth Warren and some of the antitrust activity in the States, hopefully in Canada too, is going to start to turn that around, but it's a huge amount of work required.
But at the end of the tour, which is already massively successful, the initial prices would have been really high, right? She knows she could sell 10 concerts here probably.
Oh, at this point.
Yeah. And how many is there? 2 here?
Yeah, you're right. So she must...
You would think that she would be saying...
Her company adjusts the pricing to Ticketmaster and, hey, let's just start high.
Yeah. I would think.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, it's all fascinating, isn't it?
So there, now you know what a whole bunch more turns of phrase that you may have heard before actually meant, where they came from. We're now getting snappers from the outside world. Thank you, Nancy. So if you've got any more, anybody, anywhere, let us know. Hope you enjoyed that. We sure did. We will talk at you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.